Meet Touya Mochizuki, a 15-year-old boy who is accidentally killed by God, and as an apology, God allows him to be resurrected. But since he cannot send him back to his old world, he instead reincarnates him into a fantasy world along with any special requests. Touya requested to bring his smartphone into the new world with him, which God accommodates. Armed with his trusty smartphone and blessed with enhanced physical, magical, and cognitive abilities, Touya takes full advantage of his second chance at life and embarks on a quest that takes him across lands teeming with danger and intrigue. The story continues as Touya and his fiancées encounter a pair of formidable mithril golems. Thinking quickly, Touya employs his gate spell to drop the golems from a height of 10,000 meters, weakening them significantly. With the golems vulnerable to attack, Yumina, Elze, and Linse combine their efforts to ultimately defeat them. Upon their return home, they are greeted by their maids Ren and Cecile. Later, during tea time, Francesca, or Seska as she is affectionately called, subtly implies that Touya may have an abandonment fetish. Touya brushes off the remark, but Lin praises Seska's adaptability with her different personas. The conversation then turns to Lin's quest to locate the remaining teleportation circles leading to the Babylons. Touya is surprised by this revelation, as he had not considered pursuing them. After receiving a phone call from God, Touya pays a visit to the Divine Realm, where he meets with both God and the God of Love. As Touya recounts the events of his second life, the God of Love casually munches on a cookie and questions why Touya's phone lacks a wallpaper featuring his fiancées. Touya hesitates, feeling embarrassed at the suggestion. Meanwhile, Yumina, Yae, Linse, and Elze discuss the enchanted engagement rings Touya bestowed upon them. Yumina expresses concerns about someone potentially taking advantage of Touya's kindness, using an example of someone making unreasonable demands, and later becoming his fiancé. She predicts that Touya may acquire more fiancées in the future. Later, Touya accompanies Yae into town. On their way back home, Yae nervously seeks reassurance about her status as Touya's fiancé. Touya confirms her position, prompting Yae to shyly request spending more time alone with him and holding his hand while walking. Eventually, King Tristan and Queen Yule are informed about their daughter Yumina's engagement to Touya. Yule brings up the potential challenges of Touya's engagement to Yumina, anticipating a mixed reaction from the noble crowd and emphasizing the need for Touya to increase his merits. Their discussion is interrupted by Shu, who affectionately embraces her older cousin and then Touya. Upon returning home, Touya seeks clarification from Yumina about whether he will become king if they marry, to which she confirms. However, Yumina mentions the possibility of her uncle Alfred having a son, which could change the situation. Thankfully, Yumina assures Touya that news of their engagement will be kept under wraps for the time being. Reflecting on Queen Yule's suggestion for a significant achievement, Touya seeks advice from Micah and Dolan at the Silver Moon Inn. They suggest that the city lacks a unique product or tourist attraction. Inspired by their advice, Touya decides to create a hot spring bath for the inn. Meanwhile, in the women's dressing room, Yumina and the others discuss Touya's creation of the hot spring. Yumina prompts them to share when they each fell in love with Touya, revealing her own reasons afterward. However, Seska's attempt to cross over the wall separating the women's and men's sides ends in an amusing mishap. Moments later, Lin barges in with Paula, announcing that she has found a Babylon spot. Everyone journeys to the Sandora kingdom in the desert and witnesses another crystal beast, now identified as a phrase, pursuing a group of individuals. Touya crosses paths with End once more, who successfully vanquishes the phrase. End discloses that the barrier safeguarding the world against the phrases is deteriorating, enabling them to seek out their king. Shortly after, End teleports away. The group encounters adventurers led by Rebecca, who are escorting runaway female slaves to safety. They discover that the collars worn by the slave girls enforce obedience, and attempting to remove them or escape could prove fatal. The sole individual capable of removing the collars has passed away. Touya employs his powers to dismantle the collars, while Yumina extends an invitation to seek refuge in Belfast, as their status as slaves bars their return to their kingdom. They are subsequently accommodated in Touya's mansion until further arrangements can be made. Touya discloses that Ender was a foreigner he assisted in joining the Adventurers Guild. Francesca unveils Regina's creation, a robot suit designed as an anti-phrase weapon, stored on a Babylon island within a vehicle hangar. While excavating the ruin, Touya is suddenly transported to Babylon's workshop, where he encounters Rosetta. In a peculiar offer, she promises him the workshop if he correctly guesses the color of her underwear. Frustrated by the game, Touya resorts to magic to see beneath her dress, only to find her panties are entirely transparent. Rosetta surprises Touya with a kiss, using it to register his DNA, and reveals that the workshop is an ultimate tool capable of creating any item. Intrigued, Touya crafts an upgraded pistol sword from mithril. Deciding to integrate the workshop island with the garden island in Belfast, Touya orchestrates its relocation. Upon returning to the mansion at Rebecca's urging, Touya agrees to provide shelter for the former slave girls until they can secure employment. Touya establishes employment opportunities for the former slave girls by launching the Moon Reader Cafe, featuring a library, and hires them as staff. Meanwhile, Will, one of Rebecca's young adventurers, informs Touya about another nil spell, Gravity. Guild Secretary Prim asks Touya to include a specific book series at Moon Reader. Yumina becomes anxious upon learning that the series is a yaoi erotic series penned anonymously by her close friend Reliel, Princess of the Referees Imperium. Recognizing the potential for business growth, Touya consents to stock the requested book series at Moon Reader, leading to a flood of similar requests from his female clientele. During his visit to Referees to procure the books, he encounters a peculiar yaoi enthusiast who, eager to obtain one of the books he's acquired, offers her autograph in exchange. Inadvertently, she discloses her true identity as Reliel Incognito. Touya, utilizing the workshop, duplicates the book for her, while she reconnects with Yumina. Will develops feelings for one of the former slave girls and expresses a desire to protect her, prompting Touya to arrange for him to train with the Royal Knights. During a visit to the Silver Moon with Elze, Touya retrieves a cute outfit he designed for her, which she adores. However, Touya's embarrassment peaks when Reliel publishes a new book featuring a bisexual magician unmistakably modeled after him. Feeling humiliated, Touya vows severe consequences if he ever encounters Reliel again. Touya travels to the Regulus Empire in search of more books, only to discover that civil war has erupted as General Bazour rebels against Emperor Zephyrus. Amidst the chaos, Touya rescues Princess Lucia and her loyal bodyguard Carol from the clutches of soldiers. It becomes clear that Bazour's insurrection poses a significant threat. Touya swiftly teleports away with Emperor Zephyrus, Princess Lucia, and her devoted bodyguard Carol, yet they fail to locate Lucia's missing brother, Prince Romero. Sensing Lucia's feelings for Touya, Yumina extends an invitation for a private conversation with her. Meanwhile, Yumina's father makes a significant announcement. The queen is expecting, and if the child is a boy, he will inherit the throne instead of Touya. Additionally, Rosetta unveils that the two powerful artifacts originated from the Storehouse Island. Utilizing his phone's search function, Touya successfully locates Romero. In a daring confrontation, Touya overcomes the demon's formidable physical resistance by delivering a powerful blow to its head with his sword. Subsequently, he neutralizes Bazour's magical defenses by subjecting him to sludge slime, emitting a nauseating stench that renders Bazour incapacitated. With the aid of Touya's interventions, Zephyrus regains control of his throne. However, Touya's triumph is overshadowed by his inability to celebrate with his fiancées, who are repelled by the lingering foul odor clinging to his clothes. Despite Touya's customary objections, his fiancés, Tristwin and Zephyrus, decide to reward him by arranging his engagement to Lucia in order to solidify peace between Belfast and Regulus. Additionally, they bestow upon Touya a parcel of land situated at the border of both kingdoms, allowing him to govern his own, albeit very small, kingdom. Touya names this new domain Brunhild and ensures its autonomy from interference by other kingdoms. Utilizing the workshop and materials salvaged from a derelict castle, Rosetta swiftly constructs a magnificent castle in Brunhild according to Touya and his fiancé's exact specifications. Emperor Rig of the Referees Imperium is the first to initiate diplomatic relations with Brunhild, marking a significant milestone for Touya's budding kingdom. Touya receives a visit from Tsubaki, who delivers startling news: the collapse of the Takeda clan due to the corruption of its new lord. With assistance from Kusaka, Touya initiates the construction of a city and establishes a merchant network to bolster Brunhild's growth and prosperity. The grand opening party proves to be a resounding success, with monarchs from every nation in attendance. Amidst the enchanting fireworks display, Touya presents Lucia with her own engagement ring, and the two share a tender moment hand in hand, basking in the splendor of the fireworks. Touya and his companions stumble upon another teleportation circle, which transports Touya to the alchemy laboratory island, when he encounters its keeper, Flora. In a peculiar exchange, Flora accepts Touya after an unconventional initiation involving Touya groping her breasts. Touya discovers that the laboratory is an advanced medical facility once utilized by Professor Regina to develop sexual stimulants. During his exploration, Touya uncovers a null spell granting him the ability to fly. In a surprising turn of events, Ender reemerges, divulging that the Freys are scouring for their king's power core, which happens to reside within a random human. Intriguingly, End himself is on a quest to locate this core, presenting himself as a mere traveler embarking on a 5,000-year adventure. Touya asks Francesca to mass-produce the anti-Frey suits, but the workshop doesn't have the materials. Recognizing the urgency, Kahaku proposes seeking assistance from the Flame Emperor, a powerful phoenix and queen of birds. Summoning her, they establish a swift agreement, and she takes the name Kujoku. Kujoku mobilizes every bird in the world to search for the elusive teleportation circles that are still missing. As Touya awakens, he's surprised to find Yumina sleeping beside him. Shortly after, the bird's search leads them to discover another teleportation circle. Touya travels to the designated island, where he encounters Fred Monica. She officially designates Touya as the owner of her hangar island and provides him with anti-Frey's frame gear suits. However, Touya learns that the suits require ether liquid to function, a substance only produced by the missing research lab island. Flora proposes creating an inferior version of the fuel, but it requires a rare spellstone over 12 inches long, of which only 6 exist in the entire world. Luckily, one is located in Brunhild. Flora assures Touya that she will have the fuel ready within a month. Touya and his fiancées engage in rigorous training sessions using frame units, virtual reality machines that simulate piloting frame gear. During their training, Sue abruptly declares her desire to become Touya's next fiancé, seeking refuge from an unwanted marriage proposal to Prince Zabun of Linhe Kingdom. Zabun, suspected of unsavory behavior, is pressuring Sue into marriage despite her objections. Moved by Sue's plight, Touya's fiancés agree to her proposal, seeing it as a means to protect her from Zabun's advances. Touya delves deeper into the situation, uncovering the role of Zabun's uncle, Wardak, Linhe's prime minister, in concealing Zabun's wrongdoings. Additionally, he learns of Zabun's kind-hearted half-brother, born from the king's concubine. As the situation escalates, Sue's father, Duke Ortland, informs Linhe's diplomatic emissary of Sue's engagement to Touya, prompting a surprising revelation. The emissary discloses his identity as Cloud, Zabun's brother, and implores Touya to utilize his teleportation magic to rescue their imprisoned mother. Cloud exposes Wardak as the true power behind Linhe, manipulating even the king and imprisoning Cloud's mother to secure Zabun's ascension to the throne. In response, Duke Ortland summons leaders from all Western kingdoms to address the situation. However, they ultimately defer the decision-making to Touya, who finds himself burdened with the responsibility. Using an invisibility spell, Touya infiltrates Linhe and confirms Zabun's despicable actions, including his keeping of female slaves. Additionally, Wardak's plans to instigate a war with the Paluf kingdom to eliminate Cloud and enslave Sue after her marriage to Zabun come to light. Touya swiftly intervenes, rescuing a recently acquired slave girl and removing her collar, much to the dismay of Wardak and Zabun. Unaware that the collar has been removed, they attempt to execute the slave for attempting to escape, only to realize their mistake too late. Touya proceeds to rescue Cloud's mother, Iria, and Coop, Linhe's former prime minister, trusted by Cloud. After ensuring their safety, Touya captures Wardak's confession of his nefarious deeds, including his true relationship with Zabun and his sinister plans for the throne. With irrefutable evidence in hand, Touya exposes Wardak's treachery to Linhe's king and the public using his phone's projection function. The king immediately acknowledges Cloud as his sole heir and steps down from the throne to be with Iria. As the new king, Cloud swiftly administers justice, sentencing Wardak, Dacia, and Zabun to death for their crimes. They are then covertly sold to a foreign slave trader, destined to toil as slaves in Sandora. Coop is reinstated as prime minister, and all nobles who supported Wardak are banished. Cloud joins Touya on the alliance of Western nations, further strengthening their alliance. Meanwhile, Su rejoices at the prospect of marrying Touya, relieved that justice has been served and eager for their future together. Attending the wedding of Olga and Leon, Touya is struck by the realization that he'll soon find himself at his own 6 weddings. Yumina voices her demand for Touya to make more time for them. In response, Touya arranges outings, taking them on shopping sprees and to the theater, with a brief detour to apprehend some bandits. Upon returning home, they realize they overlooked inviting Su, who insists on having her own exclusive date with Touya. Touya obliges, treating her to a tour of Brunhold, where their citizens are settling in contentedly. With Flora's successful completion of the Ether Liquid, the frame gears are finally able to activate. At Touya's prompting, Rosetta harnesses crystal fragments from deceased phrases to craft weapons imbued with a unique property. They grow stronger in correlation with the amount of magic infused into them. Rosetta expresses the need for orichalcum to construct additional frames, prompting Touya to embark on a quest to locate an orichalcum golem. However, during his journey as he flies over the Lestia kingdom, he witnesses a harrowing sight. The kingdom is besieged by a horde of phrases, thrusting the land into a desperate struggle for survival. As Touya obliterates the phrases with his crystal sword, he encounters Lestia's Night Princess, Hildegard. In a spontaneous gesture, he presents her with several crystal swords to foster diplomatic ties and equip her in the battle against the phrases. Following his pursuit of the orichalcum golem, Touya makes a startling discovery in the woods. A girl who has suffered a brutal assault, resulting in the loss of one hand and one leg. Flora utilizes the alchemy lab to restore the missing limbs of the girl Touya discovered, but informs him that she suffers from amnesia. Touya endeavors to help her regain her memories. Discovering Sakura's talent as a singer, Touya introduces her to the piano, hoping that music might trigger her memories. However, despite their efforts, Sakura's amnesia persists. Meanwhile, the guild assigns Touya the task of confronting a catoblepas, a monstrous creature known for its ability to petrify its victims. Touya accepts the mission, hoping to utilize null healing to save those affected. Touya acquiesces, replacing their conventional weapons with phrase crystal replacements for added effectiveness. The confrontation with the catoblepas concludes without any casualties, except for Lucia, who is partially petrified up to her waist. Utilizing null healing, Touya manages to restore Lucia to her former state. However, when the stone covering her body crumbles away, it inadvertently tears her clothing, leaving her without undergarments. A second catoblepas emerges, but Touya manages to defeat it without witnessing Lucia's unintended exposure. However, a mishap occurs when Touya hastily heals the 13 previously petrified adventurers, resulting in all of them being completely naked. In an attempt to make amends, Touya presents a frame gear to each kingdom as a gesture of goodwill. In Lestia, Hildegard expresses her desire to see Touya again, and her grandfather Galen, renowned for his strength in his youth, becomes intrigued by Touya and his advanced technology. This sparks Galen's interest in forging a connection with Touya and learning more about his capabilities. Galen expresses admiration for the crystal swords gifted by Touya and his plans to distribute the frame gears among the kingdoms. Impressed by Touya's intentions and technology, Galen resolves to persuade his son, the reigning king of Lestia, to join the alliance of Western nations. Following a friendly duel with Yae, Hildegard expresses her disappointment upon learning that Touya already has 6 fiancées. She musters the courage to ask to become his 7th fiancé. Galen, unconvinced of Hildegard's determination, demands a duel not with Touya but with Hildegard herself to test her resolve. While Hildegard is accepted onto the Council of Brides, she harbors concerns about her ability to defeat Galen in the duel. He kindly distracts him with a holographic projection of a bikini-clad woman, exploiting Galen's weakness for the opposite sex. Hildegard emerges victorious, but Touya's fiancés are left puzzled by the presence of bikini pictures in his possession. To lighten the mood, the love goddess regales Touya's fiancés with amusing childhood anecdotes, much to their delight. She deftly prevents Kohaku from alerting Touya. Meanwhile, Queen Yule of Belfast gives birth to a son, who is destined to succeed Touya as the future king. Touya names the newborn boy Yamato, embracing the significance of the moment. The arrival of the royal baby prompts Touya's fiancés to contemplate their own futures, realizing that they may soon embark on the journey of parenthood themselves. The keepers confirm Touya's suspicions, revealing that Professor Babylon had foreseen each of Touya's 9 wives bearing at least one child, correlating with the existence of the 9 Babylon Islands. Touya finds himself perplexed by the revelation, especially considering that he hasn't even met his next 2 wives yet. In a futile attempt to conceal the information from his fiancées, Touya soon finds himself facing their collective wrath. They deem his actions akin to hiding an extramarital affair and sentence him to kiss each of them as punishment, much to Touya's dismay and embarrassment. At the party celebrating Yamato's birth, the group gathers on the castle balcony to enjoy the festivities. However, the atmosphere takes an unexpected turn when Yumina impulsively kisses Touya ahead of time, prompting Linse to follow suit. Touya reciprocates with a gentle kiss on Sue's cheek, causing Lucia to flee in embarrassment and Hildegard to faint. Yae's attempt at a kiss ends in a flurry of panic and blows, leaving Touya bewildered, while Elze delivers her own kiss followed by a playful reprimand. As Elze helps Touya back to his feet, the wives share knowing smiles with Touya before they all return their attention to the dazzling display of fireworks. Meanwhile, the Keepers make a significant discovery, locating the Professor's clairvoyance gem, which predicts Lin and Sakura as the remaining 2 wives yet to join Touya's harem. That's all for today's adventure. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling anime, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and hit that like button if you enjoyed the journey. Stay connected for more exciting stories to come.